Hey guys, it's that time again to journey into our little corner of the internet, our water cooler and our little corner of the internet. It's the Movie Minute. I'm Mike Sorg here, of course, with my the movie matriarch himself, Mulango at Rambling Mango on the Twitters. How you doing this week, sir?
I'm good. It's been a good week.
Yes. Hey, you got a few movies that you got in. I got one that I got in. I can mention too. But first, I want to hear. Give me one of yours. What are you watching this week that you want to tell us to go out and get or just avoid like the plague?
Well, the one interesting thing about this week was it was definitely I want to say a slow week in movies. There was only one movie that really came out that seemed to be what people were into. Mm-hmm. But besides that, I think a lot of my watching time went to television. So with that being said, I spent a little bit of time watching a lot of stuff on Netflix. So I saw Best Man Down, which I have a review that I have to post up on it, but that was a good one. I liked that. It was a sad but good. The Place Beyond the Pines, I saw that. Oh, you're showing the preview for Best Man Down. Yeah. This is definitely that. I seem to watch a lot of movies that I call them the Finding Yourself movie, kind of like Elizabethtown and the Garden State type stuff. I just call this the Finding Yourself movie. I think that this was along those lines, but yeah, it was an interesting movie. The Place Beyond the Pines. That is a crazy movie. I actually recommended on my review that people see it, but I would not buy it. So I don't know. However way you can watch this movie without buying it. So I guess Netflix. I think it's on Netflix.
Tell me what all is this about? Like, what's the Place Beyond the Pines about? I've never heard of it.
So it's. Without giving away the movie, I'll say Ryan Gosling's in it. So if you're into that, yes. But the guy who did Blue Valentine, if that's any indication of what this kind of movie is, it's very like gritty, very real, and it like plays on that human emotion of like people's lives, and you definitely have the sense that these people could exist, but I don't know, movies that tend to play off that very real and raw, like life vibe, usually have a tendency to come off as either inspiring or completely depressing. And I think this one like teetered the line, but it showcases two generations and just the conflict that people have with, I guess, corruption, a way of life, advancement of life, taking care of family. It crosses a lot of issues, but the conclusion to the movie left me kind of like, just kind of like, oh, well, cool, but it's very slow and sad. And Ryan Gosling, I will ruin this. If you're going to watch this movie just for him, you shouldn't do that. Because he does not stay around for long.
So he's not a focal point.
So, but yeah. And then for some reason, since I'm an effects guy, I saw Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters on good old thingamajiggy, the red box thingy. That's one I wish I had returned.
Yeah.
I wish somebody had like tasered me. They throw in so like I don't think the sad thing about this movie is I don't think it's a kid's movie, but I think it is. It's like it's not defined to a generation or like it's weird. It's like they play up a bunch of kid jokes, so you're like, oh, this is a kid's movie, and then they throw in the graphics and like very like complex situations, but then it switches back to a kid's movie. So maybe this is a teenager's movie with really bad jokes.
Okay.
That's probably what it is.
It always looks
but
I think with something like Percy Jackson, when I see a trailer for it, the way it comes off, something like that, something like the Narnia movies, something like maybe with the Catching Fire stuff. Like there's like some feel to it that's like, okay, this is based on a book, and a lot of kids are going to be into this, but there's like there's something about the tone, that kind of seems a little bit off for a movie like this. Is that what you feel?
Yeah, that's it. Because if it's based off a book, then you're playing it off the basis of these kids have grown up, people that read this book. So maybe we're going for a serious vibe with that, but it's not a serious. Yeah, it's just.
I think it's part of the storytelling too, because you think about when you do a movie, there's a pretty standard, build, climax, and fall, right? Unless it's something a little more broad, like most of these Oscar movies or something like that, right? More epic movies. But I think that's part of the adapting it from the book. Is there's a lot more of a roller coaster ride. Whenever you see something like this, and I think that kind of plays a little bit to we're trying to figure out how to shoehorn this into. Some kind of film. So
yeah, definitely. And one of the questions I always ask when I watch a movie is, did it flow like relatively well? Was it smooth going from scene to scene? And I mean, this movie, it's just scene cut after scene cut. It's literally, if you're a teenager with ADD, maybe you'll enjoy this. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
we're here now. Okay, we're here now. I know that's what kind of loses me. Like sometimes I don't understand why in Mission Impossible we went to Dubai for X, Y, and Z reason. All I know is something really cool is about to happen. Same with the Bourne movies or something like that. Like they're hard to kind of place you would know what's going on in something like that. Same with the Bond movie. You're just like, he's in another exotic locale. That's all you really need to understand in order to enjoy this movie. So there's that.
Definitely. So, I mean, if I was going to rate those three movies, I mean, I think I would. I mean, The Place Beyond the Pines was definitely a better movie than Best Man Down, but that would be my order. Place Beyond the Pines, Best Man Down, and very, very far at the bottom would be Percy Jackson. That's a movie that you give to your kids to have them shut up so you could watch something else in the other room.
Yeah.
Or filler movie. But hey, in the weekend lineup, Thor barely squeaked by. Well, I won't call 6 million barely squeaking by. But more importantly was on Friday release, Best Man Holiday, which ended number 2 in the weekend lineup, was beating Thor. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty interesting.
So and I sent you an article about that, and I and I know you kind of laughed at this too, but it was kind of like the middle part of the article, because it was more of a broad, hey, this is what's going on in the cinema kind of thing. And I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't pull it up. Oh, there it is. This was from Forbes.com, and they were talking about how strong this was, and they compared it to what's happening with like the Tyler Perry movies, which I know you've told me on several occasions you don't even understand those.
I stopped after like Tyler Perry goes to prison, but somehow he's still walking around.
Yeah,
and driving and stuff.
So basically, the big takeaway from this was like, hey, black people like to go to the movies and they like to see themselves on screen. That's pretty much paraphrasing what they said in here. To the point where like that they're not the comic relief or the side or the sidekick, that they are the focus of the movie. Like a movie like this Best Man Holiday, which I think is pretty mostly, if not all, black cast. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I think there was one white guy in it, gentleman. I haven't seen the movie yet, which is interesting. Based off one of the reviews, and I have to give her credit for. I can't give her credit because I don't remember her name. That's hard. Beyond the trailer, the girl that does that, she had a pretty interesting review. I don't usually agree with all of her reviews on stuff like this, but she actually liked the movie, and this is the first time that her liking a movie made me actually want to see it, because she is she's not black, so she's coming from a completely different perspective. And I guess the big valid point that I took away that she quoted on was the fact that, I mean, critics were like bashing this movie and generalizing this movie as a black genre compared to like a foreign film instead of just a movie. So I definitely think that, yes, something like that will definitely throw people off when they see all these black actors on. But she states that it was funny. It held her attention through the whole thing. It was beautifully shot, and it was related to things going on relative to our culture now. So a movie like this, anybody would generally be able to relate to in the circumstances that were.
And definitely when I see trailers like this, I know, like, where I go to the movies, it's definitely a very, white bread kind of neighborhood. And I know, there's one like a year or two ago, was like for black women or something like that? Like that was the name of the movie. Do you recall this? And like, I specifically remember a old white lady behind me saying, "Well, I guess that's not for me," like very, very uppity about it, and everything. I'm just like, wow, you just did that. Okay. But I can usually get that sense when you see like a Tyler Perry movie, this Best Man Holiday one, like you get the feel like, I look around, it's like, yeah, none of these people care and know this is not a movie for them, but I think that's, is it too off to say that that's really like when you're talking about a chick flick, and say, well, that's not a movie for me. I mean, it's definitely a cultural thing, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that, I don't know if that's something that hurts, because like whenever you bring in racism and stuff like that into the movies, it always has a tendency to cross the line.
But the thing is, these movies aren't because one other point in the article is that it's good to see black people in movies in major parts where the purpose isn't to insert racism into the movie, which I presume these movies, again, with the Tyler Perry's and everything, like it's not about, black versus white. And the difference is it's about, these are just being more identifiable in that culture. I am not the person to be talking about this.
No, it's true. It's true. But it's good. It's good to have the conversation, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're all about. So, I mean, I definitely think that if somebody were to ask me, like, if you, Mike, were to say, hey, I'm thinking about going to see Tyler Perry's Medea Goes to Florida 10 jailbreak thing, I would tell you, based on me seeing a couple of these movies, Mike, you probably want to save your money for something else. Because he tailors that to such a specific, not even black people that go to church. So, like, it's such a specific demographic that if you're black, I mean, and you don't go to church, you'll still understand, because, there's a subculture there that's relatable to that genre. If you're white, you might understand it as well, but I definitely think his intent wasn't, I mean, he's in it to make money, of course.
Yeah.
But I think his intent was always black culture. He's from the South. He was born from the South. And some of his movies aren't bad. I'm sorry I said that. Some of his movies aren't. Yeah, I mean, for what they are, it is. I'll give the guy. I would sit down with the guy and talk. Over some coffee and talk strategy.
He's figured out a niche, which I don't think a lot of people really kind of attack. So, I mean, that's exactly what a lot of people do in podcasting and everything, is find that niche and go for it. And he has built an empire on it. I mean, that's like Kevin Smith going after the stoner movie,
Definitely.
The slacker stoner movie. And he has an empire on it, and he's rebuilt that over and over again. There's a really much difference in the long run.
I think the underlining issue here is the fact that when people see this trailer, I think they automatically, I personally, and I'm African American, as you can see.
In case you're listening to the audio version of this.
And I jumped to conclusions about what I thought this movie was, not even seeing the first one. So maybe for me, being prejudiced to some point, I'm at fault for not giving the movie a shot. And I think a lot of critics out there also did that in their reviews, and by crediting it, saying like, well, it's a black film and we credit these black people. I don't know if that's what they should have targeted. I think they should have targeted more on hey, this is a really good film, and you'll enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even the underlining things that came out, it definitely has that. What's the horror movies that we are sick of watching?
Saw or Paranormal
No,
Activity?
Paranormal, where very low budget and big return. I think the first movie, they spent $9 million and they got a return on that of about 30 million on the first one. This one they spent about 17, and opening weekend they pulled in 30.1. And as you know, as we're going into Thanksgiving and the holiday stretch, you know that this movie has the potential to rack up a lot more money than that.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that it beat Thor on a Friday on Thor's second week, that's pretty significant. So, I mean, I definitely think, I don't know, I think my wife wanted to see this, and I'll stop with that. But I think I'll check this out.
Awesome. So I saw a movie, Mulango.
What movie did you see, Mike?
Well, you guys know we do the wrestling show here on this network of Sorgatron Media, and one of the movies that pop up, I mean, there's this WWE Films thing that they've been doing for years, and they've usually featured wrestlers as stars of the movies, like John Cena and Kane in a horror movie and stuff like that. But this one, they did a lot of straight-to-DVD releases, and then earlier, I believe this year, they started a lot of them that were back to the theater. And actual full-wide theater releases from the looks of things, because they were always like a limited release, and then it's like on DVD at Walmart a few weeks later, right? But this one was Dead Man Down, actually starring Colin Farrell. And you would not know it's a WWE film from initially looking at it, because you don't see a lot of wrestlers all over the place. In fact, you see a small, minuscule clip in the trailer that always went around of one of the guys, Wade Barrett, and it feels like his part's even smaller when you get to the movie. So again, Colin Farrell. It's got the girl from the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the originals. She was also in Sherlock Holmes 2, and also has the guy that plays the first Rhodey from Iron Man.
I totally just realized I started watching this movie and did not finish it.
And that was probably a good choice. There's not much to it. It's one of those like gritty crime drama-y things. There's like a mystery. Like they supposedly, they killed. It's from the director of the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Just actually popped up on the trailer. I didn't realize that. So kind of the feel kind of makes sense now with that. I kept losing the interest with it, honestly, but. It's a Netflix, and it was on Netflix, so I'm cool with that.
Wait, explain the wrestling thing, though.
There's nothing. The whole wrestling angle is only that WWE Films is just an arm of WWE at this point. They're not using it to prop up their wrestlers as movie stars anymore. They're using it to just produce films. And maybe they'll give a couple parts. This one was a guy that's really low level. The other one that came out around the same time that now I think it's starting to get play on Stars or something, so I imagine it'll be on Netflix soon. The one with Halle Berry, The Call. That actually it used to have a little bit in the trailer. One of the guys that plays the cops is actually David Otunga, who he hasn't actually been seen a lot on wrestling lately, but he's actually the husband of Jennifer Hudson. So he's kind of got a big Hollywood name attachment there on top of it. But again, not played up a lot that it's WWE Films. And it's a lot of those, one of those films when you see like 4 different studios were involved with this, they're one of the 4. It's not a straight WWE Films in association with, like they usually do. I think it's a smaller role, but I think maybe this is planning up to something bigger down the line that they can do a bigger movie with their own stars. If you're not familiar with what they've done before, The Marine, 12 Rounds, as far as
Scorpion King, The Rundown.
No. Scorpion King was kind of, because that came off of the Mummy series. So that was produced by MGM, I think, does the Mummy series. So, I mean, of course they had kind of a co-production thing. Going on there, but it was
co-produced.
Yeah. So I mean, but it really, See No Evil was a horror movie they put out. They're actually putting out a sequel here soon for that. I think at the beginning of the year. Trying to think of some other big ones that might have come out. None off the top of my head, but other than that, like straight to DVD stuff, Like,
I did not know The Call was one of theirs.
yeah, exactly. You don't. So I'm wondering what they're doing for this mass appeal. You would only know as a WWE movie, really, other than you sat down and watched it and you saw the emblem at the beginning and be like, wow, really? But I think they realize that turns people off to certain things. So I think they're downplaying that a little bit. But of course, whenever the movie comes out on DVD and in the theaters, you can't get away from it when you're watching WWE programming.
Jeez, See No Evil was a huge one.
Was it?
Oh, wait, no. I'm thinking Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah, that's a different one. I mean, See No Evil wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. The Marine I thought was fine for what it was. The Marine 2 and 3 I don't know about.
I've never heard. So definitely
2 was rough. I haven't watched 3 yet with The Miz.
It definitely feels like they're definitely playing a back seat to a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, The Call was definitely something that I don't remember that one really being in. I don't remember seeing commercials for that like hardcore.
No, and I don't think they're making anything that they intend to be a big blockbuster at this point. I'm trying to see if there's any other ones. Actually, No Holds Barred is technically. Hold on. Oh yeah, well, technically their first production was No Holds Barred back with Hulk Hogan back in the day, but that was before they actually made their own studio. They actually worked with somebody else.
So the cool thing I could take from this, besides the movies that they co-produced, is if you're a wrestler and your movie comes on the big screen, they probably have their hands behind this.
What do you mean?
It seems like, I'm looking at some of the posters, and these are all wrestlers that they're starring.
Typically, yes. Typically, yes. And actually, if you go to Wikipedia, there's a bigger list of everything on here. But again, they haven't really done big pushes. This is the first time they've had a movie go to a full theater run since, looking at this, I'm going all the way back to 2009 with 12 rounds. The Condemned with Stone Cold was one of theirs, of course. The Marines, See No Evil, right? They're actually doing a Scooby-Doo Goes to WrestleMania movie. Cartoon movie.
No comment on that one.
No comment on that one. But that's one of those Warner Bros. Animation ones and everything. So, this is just kind of, I think, their reach out arm to get their guys into movies, to get movies made, the co-produce app. Because they're more than just a wrestling company; they're an entertainment company. So this is one of the things that they do, and I think it's a varying success, of course. But I think that's one of those things we talk about, that Best Man Holiday that was really low budget. I don't think you see a big budget on Dead Man Down or The Call, other than they got Colin Farrell and Halle Berry. But that's not, again, they're not aiming to be any sort of a blockbuster at that point.
Besides The Call with Halle Berry, that made a whopping domestically $51 million. Yeah. I wonder how much of that $51 million she signed on for.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I think somebody like a Halle Berry does this is the one that makes me all the money with the X-Men, and then this is the one that I want to do because it's an interesting film.
It did seem like it had a somewhat interesting premise, but that was one that I think that's in my DVD queue for Netflix.
Let me know if you watch that, if you get to it before I do. Let me know how that goes. I'm really curious to see how that movie came out. It looks like a good movie, to be honest. Not like a crazy. I expected more out of The Call than I did out of Dead Man Down. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I saw Colin Farrell, and I was like, I like him. He's a good actor. I have high hopes for this. I think 10 minutes in, and also. Howard Lawrence? Why did I butcher his name? Terrence Howard. Wow, sorry. He was also in that movie, and just didn't do it for me.
In a related note, I'm being reminded of in the chat room, Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies premieres this weekend locally in Uniontown.
Oh, it's going to be live or locally is
No, it's a movie. It's a movie. I know several people that are in it.
Oh, I really wanted to go and just see wrestlers and zombies going at it on the streets of Uniontown.
That'd be... Well, that's kind of what Uniontown's like anyways.
I would have driven to see that. Hey, let's wrap up the news real quick, because this is a topic that I don't think should be in the news, but somehow is. Hey, guess what, Mike? R2D2 is supposed to be in Star Wars.
Why do you say that backwards? What is wrong with you? R2D2.
What did I say?
R2D2. This is like the second time you've done that. Man.
I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm still at work.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad, maybe with everything going on and everybody's worried about how are these movies going to play out in comparison to the other ones. Also, you can't be friends with Chachi anymore because you can't say that appropriately.
Hey, Chachi, RD22.
I don't think I can do the show with you anymore if you keep doing that.
22DR.
What?
Dr. 22.
Wow.
I like the way you're like in the middle of a three-way very one-dimensional conversation, but you're getting it from both sides.
Yeah. You just lost a listener. I'm sure plenty more. You can send your complaints to @RamblingMango on the Twitter, by the way. No, I think it's kind of good that they confirm this, just so with all of the upheaval and what are they going to do with it, they say, hey, he's going to be here. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Were you worried that he wasn't going to be in it?
I didn't expect him to. I'm not worried, but have you watched Fanboys? That's probably accurate.
Oh, jeez. That's another one that is in my queue.
Well, let's ask the chat room. We got some Star Wars buffs out there. Were you guys worried? Are you relieved to know that R2D2 is going to be coming back? Exactly. You don't know until it's announced. I mean, it's you don't know. This quells your fears to say, well, there's my ticket. They're at least going to have R2D2. There's going to be an anchor of hope in this. And it is a question mark because this is going to be supposedly, way after the other ones. So, who knows who's going to be in it? Who knows who's survived through?
I guess. It just seemed, I don't know. For me, it just seemed like a rational, like, a duh. Like, of course he's going to be in it somewhere. Like, we'll see some kind of inkling of a remnants of something that, attributes it to what we all grew up with. So, I don't know. It's just, whatever. If it's news to people, it was, it's on the internet.
And that is your expert opinion, I see. So, we'll see. Hey,
I could call up J.J. Abrams after the show and ask him to get more detail.
Come on, J.J.
Come on, J.J.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so, this weekend, there's a big movie coming out.
What's coming out this weekend?
One that everybody's been talking about. Everybody.
I don't listen to everybody, Mulango.
It's been in the streets.
I don't
the streets of Pittsburgh.
I don't play in the streets like those children that do that. What are you talking about?
What, you haven't seen any arrows on fire going through your face?
What kind of neighborhood do you live in?
By you?
I live in a nice neighborhood in Pittsburgh. I don't know about you.
These are the mean streets of Northside.
My God, what are we talking about?
Oh, yes. Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. The second one, Catching Fire, is officially the name, I believe. And
I feel like Hunger Games should really be a movie about hungry people that just play games.
I think they're pretty hungry. I probably won't go see this. To be honest, unless it's like, hey, oddly, I have a free weekend, so maybe, but yeah.
What you should do with your free weekend is you should go see Delivery Man, and I'll go see Hunger Games.
Why am I going to go see Delivery Man?
Hunger Games.
But no, not that I think that it's going to be a bad movie or anything. No, it's just. I'm not as I wasn't really excited. The first one we went to was like, hey, everybody's talking about this. Let's see what this movie's about, right?
Yeah.
And I know what it's about, and I know that I can wait until Netflix because one, I know that they have a deal and it's coming to Netflix first.
Yeah.
like the last one did. So I'm not worried about it. So why not? So tell me about Delivery Man. And actually, you saw this trailer, and I think in front of Thor too. And
yes, I think it was in Thor.
It looks entertaining. Maybe not theater worthy, but entertaining. Why are you sending me to this one?
I was kind of bummed about. Well, I mean, again, I will premise this by saying critics get paid or whatever. I could technically, we're all critics in some form or not, and it's all our opinion. But Rotten Tomato is bashing this film, and based on what I saw in the previews, and on the premise that this is a Vince Vaughn film, I don't care. It looks hilarious.
It does.
So I will probably see it in some form.
This seems like
I just don't know when.
It seems like a feel-good movie. It seems like it's going to be way better than The Internship looked like it was going to be.
Oh,
I still
gosh.
kind of want to see
Another movie I started and did not finish.
Really? I kind of want to see it just for the Google angle to see what they did with it.
I got as far as the first 10 minutes where they said, you guys are out of a job. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? And then some, next scene is like, I got his internships at Google. Like, all right, I'm done.
Like it was that. It was that like weird and quick and no progression, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is Google. Sad attempt, Google.
Like they need to.
This is one of those, I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see which came first. Like, did Vince Vaughn approach them? Or did they say, hey, we'd love to do a movie with you. And it'll be great. And it's about Google.
Somebody at Google laughed at those jokes. You know that.
I'm sure, everybody at Google... Well, I take that back. I read an article where probably not everybody at Google was laughing. But I'm sure there was, 5 people at Google that couldn't stop rolling around.
Is that all that's coming out this week?
That's it. Those are the only 2 big ones.
Awesome. Mulango, thanks a lot. I know which movies to avoid. Wait, you're sending me for Delivery Man. How'd that work out?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll see it.
Okay.
My brother's probably going to make me see Hunger Games during Thanksgiving. So maybe I should save my money and see Delivery Man now. And drag Chachi with me.
There you go. Take Chachi. I know Chachi. A lot of comments from the chat room tonight. Chachi said he's going to start going to see all the movies that you don't like. So I can't wait to see how that turns out, and I hope he live tweets when that happens, and he tweets you with it too. We had
he has to remind me, what movies have I not liked? I don't even know.
According to him, all of them. So, and I apologize. I wanted to grab all of. He just added the internship. And, tonight, Percy Jackson.
Yes. Oh, no. You know what? I would love to bring Chachi on the show after he sees Percy Jackson and tell me what he thought. Because I totally went into that movie on the visual effects end. And I like a good story, and I vomited.
His list is Percy Jackson, The Colin Farrell, and Internship.
Awesome.
So Dead Man Down, apparently, I guess.
I can't wait for nightly news where we see Chachi's face bleeding.
But no, if you're like Chachi or anybody else, you have a different opinion, go on the YouTube right here at the bottom and leave your comment, or hit us up on Twitter at Rambling Mango, at Sorgatron for me, or I love this, and we did this a couple times on some of our other shows, and I think this is the perfect thing for people to let their opinion out, and we will play these on the shows as long as they're pretty good, like 30 seconds or something. But if you go to YouTube and hit that upload button, because you all have accounts at this point, right? If you hit that upload button and there's a record, just from your webcam, which most of us have webcams, and you can let us know what you think of a movie, or give us your mini review, or tell us how much you think Mulango doesn't like good movies.
Yeah.
So,
or you could tell me which movies you would like me to watch.
Exactly.
I will do that.
So message those over, tweet them over, put them on the YouTube, send them through the YouTube. However, I don't know. They just changed all the comments on there. Link them. I think you can link them now on there. What's this?
No, that was me. Just being weird.
Okay. Guys, thanks a lot. It's been the Movie Minute. Check us out. We're here live at live.sorgatronmedia.com every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern to talk movies here on our little water cooler. So thanks, Mulango. Thanks, everybody in the chat room. We'll see you guys next week.